have some people that would like to be able to have some access to these audio files. Anyway, so what am I saying? Yes, it's a mindfulness day, and as some of you all know, we've explored a way of doing the mindfulness of breathing that comes from the Anapanasati Sutta, which is it sort of feels like a more open structure, and really what it's doing is we start with the body, and then we go into feelings or feeling tone, and then we look at like how the mind is constructing things and the condition of the mind itself. And we don't often get that far through the practice, to be fair, because just to be with the body and the breath and the feeling tone and the overall condition of the mind is quite a lot already. But today I wanted to do something that focuses on feeling, and to be specific a little bit about what I mean by feeling, I'm talking about feeling tone, or sometimes it's translated as hedonic tone, this word Vedana. So it's not an emotion is something else. And I thought I would do this, that we would do some just sitting today, or some formless mindfulness, or some open, directed mindfulness. More of a contemplation, really. The origins of the word contemplation are to do with making space, and it comes from contemplare, which would be, to clear a space for ritual, particularly, or for divination. That's the origins from the Latin. Which I quite like that idea that, there is this aspect of meditation that when we contemplate things, we make space to look at them. Like when we make space, it's like that. We make space by relaxing. We make space by doing less. That's what happens when we sit and meditate, is that we reduce the amount of input, and that creates a space. So then it's possible to contemplate various aspects of our experience. I mean, this came because I was listening to an audio file of a meditation that Kamala Sheila led on a retreat I was on about more than 10 years ago. but it really sort of started me thinking, and so that's what I'm going to share with you. So things to say are, we'll start with just sitting, and then I'll put in some thoughts about feeling. So it's a little bit of a talk, I suppose, just fine. But I'll be delivering that very slowly and meditatively. So it's just things to contemplate, and then I'll shut up and leave you to contemplate the ideas that I've introduced, and maybe I'll say a few things in that second half. But there's a part that's talking and a part that's not very much talking at all. And the sort of the thing with just sitting is that we just sit. There's not much else to do. But in terms of how we are mindful, how it's a meditation practice, is we're just mindful of whatever is arising in each moment. So we have the whole gamut of experience, and we'll take a few moments to tune into that. I'll say some things before I start giving information, but at any time, if you want to move, if you want to change position, if you want to lie down or stand and listen, or stand and contemplate, that's all good. It's also, sometimes some people find it helpful to meditate with their eyes open when doing just sitting. You might like to experiment with that. I'm not going to stipulate that it should be one thing or another. Just like you to be comfortable, stable, upright, if that's okay for you. Lie down if it's not. Stand if it's not. So taking some moments to recollect that you do indeed, or there is an experience somewhere, body. There is an experience of body happening. And there might be things that can be done to make that experience of body more comfortable. If so, please do whatever is needed. Today I would like to suggest seeing if it's possible, is it possible to tune into the experience of the entirety of the surface of the skin at once. I can't remember the exact area of your skin if you were skinned and it was laid out. It's quite big. There's a lot of surface area. The skin is breathing, it's alive, it's sensitive. Notice which parts of the skin feel more alive, have more sensation, and which parts of the skin are a little bit quiet, perhaps a bit unknown. The hair touching the scalp, clothing touching the torso and the arms and the pelvis and the legs. And how are the feet? The back surfaces of the body. How much information is there? And from the front surface of the body, how much information is there? The armpits and the creases, and the spaces between fingers and toes, where there is skin, there is still sensation. Beneath the skin there is muscle, also providing sensation. There is bone, sensations in the muscles, often telling us about how the bones are. This jigsaw of bones of the skeleton. More than 200 bones. And then there's the soft tissues of the viscera, the organs, the movements of the heart and lungs, the muscle of the diaphragm, gently massaging the organs of the belly. the soft, watery world of the central nervous system. Is there any sensation from that? Is there any feeling, any information? Or maybe keeping it simple. Just being mindful that there is a body. Here is body. This is experience of the body. And knowing that, clearly knowing, this is body. Being mindful, clearly knowing, body. And along with body, there's sight, smell, taste, sound. All the physical organs providing more information, taste and smell, light and shade and color, perhaps all mental images projected on the visual cortex. And the mind itself, thoughts, emotions, feelings, we could say the heart and mind. Telling us about experience that's happening now. So just sitting with all that. There are no distractions because they are included in the meditation. Just another experience of mind. So sitting with an awareness of all of the six senses at once. Touch, kinesthetic sense, sight, smell, taste, sound. Whatever is being constructed and revealing itself in the heart-mind. And an intention to stay with all the experience that's happening. Mindfully, clearly knowing. Every aspect of experience has feeling. So all of this sense data, it all comes with feeling. It can be pleasant, it can be painful. Probably a lot of the time you can't really tell. It doesn't really register very much, but there is feeling there. It's just a bit neutral. And quite often when we investigate neutral feeling, what we find is it's a little bit one way or the other. It's just not very strong. So look into experience and see if that might be true. Is there feeling of some kind with every aspect of experience? Probably the more notable feelings come from the stronger sensations, of course. So this is the task, this is the teaching, to contemplate feeling in this way. So on the whole, it feels good to relax. It feels good to sit well or to find a comfortable place to lie down. It's pleasant, enjoyable. And there's no problem with enjoying what is pleasant, particularly in this wholesome way. But there can also be aspects of experience that are painful, difficult. They're just there. You just need to be patient. There's something about having the experience that reduces the amount of extra pain that comes with that. More on that later. So with the feelings, just let the feelings be what they are. They're already there. So we're either present to them or we're avoiding them. These feelings, actually they can rule our lives. They drive us very strongly, but we're not always aware of it. Because we try to avoid pain and pursue pleasure. Yeah, we know this. The big drivers that govern the whole way that we create our lives. At the heart of it is feeling. It can be good in many ways to enjoy pleasure and avoid pain. The problem comes when we choose pleasures that, in the long term, create more suffering. And sometimes we avoid pain that we actually need to attend to, that we need to listen to, that's trying to tell us something. It's important to distinguish our emotional responses from what feeling is. An emotion would be something like resentment or intoxication or love or pain or hate. Underneath the emotion is a feeling. Right? The emotion is driven by feeling. And that's what we're trying to get at. Meditation, sometimes, we can experience an emotion or a strong thought. Maybe it's taking, it's what we would call usually a distraction. It's taking us off on a story. We can take our awareness to the feeling level of experience. Come back to the basic experience of sensation and feeling. You can take the energy out of the story, the emotion, and bring us back to a place where we can make a choice, where we can exercise our agency skillfully. So during the day, the rest of today after the meditation, we can look at emotions that arise, that pass through the strong conversations, the strong thoughts, and look for the feeling. Look for the feeling that sparked the emotion or sparked the thought. It's probably a feeling of pleasure or of pain at the core of it. You might have a whole heap of thoughts about something that registers as anxiety, for instance. It might just be something a little bit painful at the heart of it that's kind of been stirred up into a whole story. It's all about this world of feeling. Whatever we experience. Feeling is there. If you can notice the feeling more, if you can be more attentive, more present to feeling, you're less likely to go to reaction and panic or craving or aversion. For instance, somebody does something that you find painful. There's nothing that can be done about that, right? The thing has happened, there is a feeling about it. So the agency that we have is in our response. A reactive chain of thought or action can change your life. Maybe not in ways that you would choose. So simply to notice the feeling can be enough to make a better choice about how to respond. Unless we own our own feeling, we stay on the surface. We need to own our experience, the pleasure and the pain, more fully. It's so easy to get caught up with ideas and stories. If we can experience the feeling behind them, we can create a pause, a little gap, where choice can happen. It's so important. It's a key Buddhist teaching. To stay present to the gap that allows us to stay with the feeling and not move to reactivity. There's a whole path of helpful and skillful mental events that we can follow from attending to feeling. It gives us confidence. There is confidence that comes from being able to stay present to feeling, because we can recognize our own agency. So the purpose of contemplating feeling is to live in the core of experience, react less, live more creatively. Sangharakshita gave a whole talk that was turned into a booklet about reactive versus creative mind, and really this is what he's talking about. And it's not about being unemotional. It's about our emotions becoming more real. More realistic, more in touch with our base feeling, and not created by some story. We have space to be present. So I'm going to try and say a bit less for a while. Just let you contemplate experience, feeling. See if you can find that gap, that space of agency in relation to feeling. Just sit. See if it's possible to simply relax into each moment of experience as it arises. It's constantly changing. So there is this element of vigilance, along with the mindfulness and the clear knowing. Would it help? Would it help to relax mind and body together that bit more deeply? Is that possible?
clearly know what is sensation, what is feeling, what is emotion, what is a story, what is a thought, clearly knowing the contents of experience and steering our attention to the basics of sensation and feeling. So from where you are now, if there was the instruction to stop meditating, what would that involve? What would it mean to rest?